Where's a shrimp's heart located? How long was the longest bridal veil? What's a nurdle? How old is that apple you are consuming? Finding the answers to these questions and more will leave you speechless. We've put together this list of weird fun facts to surprise and amaze everyone. Watch till the end to find out true fact about the world you don't know about. Whether they are being used to listen to music or to join a conference call, the use of headphones is a common part of many people's days. But despite their frequent use, many people do not realize the negative effects that improper headphone use can have on our ears. Did you know that they can increase the level of bacteria inside the ear by up to 700%? Studies have shown a direct link between headphone use and an increased risk of ear infection. Frequent and constant use of earphones increases the bacterial growth in the ear. The reason for this increase in bacteria is due to the fact that the headphones cover your ears from the external air, essentially trapping bacteria from the surface of the headphones, as well as any other bacteria your ear may have been exposed to, inside. Additionally, while the moisture inside of your ears typically evaporates over the course of the day, headphones lock in this moisture instead. This leads to extra moist, warm conditions inside the ear that provide the perfect place for bacteria to multiply, which can increase the risk of getting an infection. It is crucial to remember this during times when we produce more sweat, such as during summer, while exercising, and in warm weather conditions. However, there are ways to minimize the risk of ear infections by practicing proper headphone use. One effective way to cut down on the amount of bacteria that you are putting inside your ear is simply by cleaning your headphones before using them. You should wipe down your headphone ear pads or earbuds tips with a lightly damp cloth at least once a week. A simple way to do this is to wipe them down with a disinfectant, such as rubbing alcohol or hand sanitizer, preferably directly before each use. If the headphones are over-the-ear headphones, it is recommended to remove the pad coverings and thoroughly wipe them down with a damp cloth, soap, and water. Then, leave them to dry completely. When it was inaugurated for the Paris World's Fair on March 31, 1889, the Eiffel Tower, originally called the 300-meter tower, had a total height of 312 meters, making it the tallest tower in the world. It proudly held that title until 1931. That year, it was dethroned by the Empire State Building, 381 meters. Since then, the Eiffel Tower has continued to grow, and today measures 330 meters, including the antennas that were successively added at the summit in 1957, 2000, and 2022 to broadcast radio and television. And it may not be over yet. One of the reasons the Eiffel Tower is still as dazzling as ever is because it adapts to its environment and all types of weather conditions: wind, cold, rain, snow, frost, heat, etc. Like any metal, puddled iron is sensitive to variations in temperature, and so reacts to high temperatures in summer and low or even negative temperatures in winter. When temperatures rise, the tower increases in size. This is a natural physical phenomenon called thermal expansion. Heat causes an increase in volume that makes the Eiffel Tower a few millimeters taller. This expansion also causes the tower to tilt slightly away from the sun. The sun only hits one of the four sides of the tower, creating an imbalance with the other three sides that remain stable, thus causing the Eiffel Tower to lean. In this way, the sun's movement over the course of a clear day can cause the top of the tower to move in a more or less circular curve, measuring approximately 15 centimeters in diameter. Conversely, when cold winter weather arrives, the metal structure contracts, and it can lose a few millimeters as well. Suffice it to say that these changes are natural and infinitesimal and have no impact on the robustness of the structure. They are also absolutely imperceptible to visitors and observers. On the other hand, high winds can cause it to wobble or vibrate somewhat without damaging the structure. Because the engineers at Eiffel's company had 20 years' experience designing metal viaducts, the tower was truly, with its curved shapes and edges, designed to minimize wind resistance. But of course, when the wind exceeds certain limits, we close the top floor, or even the whole tower, to protect the public and our staff from the risks posed by turbulent weather conditions. Sloths can hold their breath longer than dolphins can. Sloths are masters of living life in the slow lane. These tree-hugging mammals, split into two-toed and three-toed varieties, travel only about 125 feet a day, so slowly that moss and algae grow on their fur. This lethargic lifestyle is actually a survival strategy suitable for their slow metabolisms and low-calorie diets, which are mostly based on tree leaves. In fact, three-toed sloths have the slowest metabolism of any mammal, followed closely by pandas and two-toed sloths. Their sluggish metabolism, as well as their ability to slow their heart to one-third its normal rate, gives sloths an unexpected superpower. They can hold their breath for an impressively long time, with estimates suggesting that some two-toed sloths can hold their breath for upwards of 40 minutes. This makes sloths better at conserving oxygen than even some marine mammals such as dolphins, who can only hold their breath for 15 minutes max. The sloth breathing technique, aided by the design of their lungs, helps make sloths excellent swimmers. So while their leisurely lifestyle may seem a bit lazy to the untrained eye, don't blame the sloth. They're just built that way. Supermarket apples can be a year old. You can't go wrong with apples, right? They're great for you, they're tasty, and they have lots of surprising uses that don't involve eating. Well, it turns out that this classic fruit might be hiding an unappetizing secret. If you buy apples at the grocery store, you probably don't question how the fruit gets from the apple tree to the produce section. It turns out that that path is not quite as direct as you might think. In the United States, apples are only harvested once a year, from August to November. That's it. So if you're eating an apple in the winter, spring, or summer, and that apple came from the supermarket, it was picked the previous fall, as long as 10 months ago. So how do fruit growers possibly keep these apples fresh for that long? Well, they refrigerate them, and there's two different ways they do it, depending on how long they want the apples to last. The growers put the apples that will be sold by December into refrigeration warehouses, which have a temperature between 34 and 38 degrees Fahrenheit. This keeps them fresh until it's time to ship them to a grocery store to be sold. But what about the apples whose sell dates are after December, but before the next harvest season? These fruits go into what's known as CA, or controlled atmosphere storage. Here the apples sit in a sort of stasis. The temperature is low, and oxygen levels are at a mere 2%, as opposed to the 21% in the air we breathe. The low oxygen levels keep the apples from ripening. Some growers call it putting them to sleep. There they stay until it's time to sell them. Nutmeg is a hallucinogen. Nutmeg is a spice introduced to Europe by the Arabs during the Middle Ages. Its essential oil has been used topically to treat arthritis pain and orally with small amounts of honey or sugar to alleviate gastrointestinal problems. However, nutmeg contains myristicin, which is chemically similar to MDMA or ecstasy, and can cause hallucinations when ingested in large doses. During the 19th century, nutmeg was a commonly used abortifacient. Its misuse led to many recorded cases of nutmeg poisoning, which is commonly characterized by body aches, severe depression, heart palpitations, convulsions, and dehydration. Stay connected with us and discover fascinating world facts that you might not be aware of by following our updates. Thank you for watching.